Hey guys, good morning. It's Monday, November 5th, and just wanted to wish you all a happy week and a good start to your work week if you're employed, which I'm not yet, but hopefully will be. We'll see. Anyway, I want to touch base with you guys on a few things, kind of give you some updates. I've been trying to keep you in the loop as I go, and I want to continue to do so. We want to keep this journey going. Obviously, last week, this is 1 week ago, last night at like 6 o'clock was my first week back, so it was definitely getting back in the swing of things and trying to get situated. So there's a lot going on. Going to conference call here shortly with some of the business folks and handling that part of things. But on the journey it was really interesting, even in talking to people afterwards. It's like anything else, like at a restaurant. You have a menu of different items because you want to appeal to different people or what appeals to different people. And it's been interesting because I've kind of found that out on this journey as well, that what has appealed to people um, has differed, not in each individual. Uh, there was a reporter I met with, and she was saying to me, way back if you followed me, that what's the point of your journey? You've got 3 or 4 different messages or something like that, and and the truth of the matter is the journey has morphed as it went. What I initially set out to find, I found in the first 25% of the journey, and then it took on something bigger, and then that was sort of where I was um, for. Um, but one of the things that came up, a lot of people, it's funny. I made a statement back early on, um, and I forgot what I was using as an analogy to. But if 50 people I know say you got to try this hamburger, you know, at this restaurant, I'm going to go and try the hamburger. People think that highly about it. Well, I grew up sort of this detached from any kind of organized religion, but it is so powerful. There's, like I said, the two topics that seem to be so polarizing, and people will shut you down. People, again, if you want to argue, Coke or Pepsi, or you want to argue a Whopper or a Big Mac, people have the discussion with you, but they'll keep talking to you after that on whatever the talking point was before that came up. But if you have people that are difference of opinion in terms of religion or their ideology, not difference of religions, people respect that. But if you start talking about, why their religion, why you choose yours over theirs, people get so defensive so quick. A lot of folks, not everybody, but a lot of folks shut down. And politics is the same way. If you try to talk and say, hey, I'm not a supporter of this, party or person, and here's why. Instead of listening to why you're not a supporter, they want to come back and tell you why you're crazy or why you should be or why they're not a supporter of your guy. Well, my talk for today centers around the religious aspect. One of the things that I made sure to do on this journey across the country was I tried to get to a service every Sunday, and for a lot of reasons. One, it was my own spiritual awakening to some degree. Part of it was to get back involved. Part of it was to see, what to expose my kids to. And a lot of people. Um, there are some folks out there that religion and God, I'm not saying isn't in the front of their mind or isn't in their mind. It's not in the front. It's just they go about their life and they're surviving, they're living, and it's one of those. This is who I was before. Was that, hey, if it's there, it'll take care of me. If it's not there, nothing lost. Nothing ventured, nothing gained, or nothing lost, I guess I should say. But a lot of people were eager to hear about my spirituality, still are as they come back. One of the questions I get asked frequently is, how has this affected your spirituality? Well, if you've been following me, you heard on my journey that one of the mistakes I realized I made as a dad all along was that I thought I was doing my kids a service by not kind of force feeding them religion. They'll find it on their own if they want to find it on their own with my approach. But I realized that I need to expose them to it the same way, and I'm at the same level they are to some degree. I have a little more knowledge, but not a lot, and I need to be exposed to it as well. And so together as a family, we're coming back to do that. Well, so a lot of people were proud of me. Hey, go to church on Sunday, have a great time with your kids. We're glad that I was seeing the light, so to speak. I won't say I went that far with it, But a great many people that reached out to me on this journey were very happy to hear and inform me that I would be going and embracing, at least being open to some form of church going. So that brings us to yesterday. Um, got my kids. My daughter has a friend that goes to a church here in York, PA. And well, I had met somebody along the way in Bristow, Oklahoma. I wanted my kids to be involved. So my sister said, "Daddy, can we go to this church? I know, my friend goes there. I've been there with her a couple of times, and it's really awesome and fun. They make it great and the whole bit." And of course, my son follows his big sister, so "Daddy, I want to go there too." Okay, so that's where we'll go. Well, I don't know how to describe yesterday's experience. I will say this. I will say the best word to describe it is disappointing. And hear me out. I'm not saying it was disappointing because of the message. Well, no, I am saying it because of the message. I'm not saying, I'm scrapping the whole idea. I'm just sharing with you yesterday's experience. But along the journey, I went to service, as I said. And along the way, I met some really good people and some really good churches. I can remember I met Pastor Fred. Well, I didn't attend his service. I spent a good amount of time with Pastor Fred in Indiana. Terrific man and friend. And had I had an opportunity, I would have certainly attended the service and would not mind going. One of the more services that seemed to hit me and touch me was one by Pastor Tidwell out in Bristow, Oklahoma. And I really just loved his demeanor, his message, his sermon, and there were others. There were others. Trying to think. Wasn't so much the pastor that I met, but when I went with Christy and Aaron out in Holbrook, Arizona, that was a very kind of low key, but a good message. So I guess I was going to my knowledge of the Bible, and I had my little Bible with me, just so you know, that Henry and Bristow had given me. Going to just learn a little bit. Going to look at things the same way that Jason Ryder had written in his book, and keep my mind open to things. And that's all I've asked you folks to do about different topics. So take the family down, and how do I describe it? As a church, it was like a small city. They had welcoming people when they're taking us on a tour, and drop my kids off over here and drop my other child off over there, and I could have coffee and donuts. And look, whatever works for people works for people. That's fine. And the truth of the matter is, as offbeat as that was for me, like I said, I don't know if it's more a social thing, if it's more people say they can be part of something. I go into this large service area, and so the service starts, and I'm talking to people right now that were in my boat or that are in my boat, because there's a lot of you out there as well as there are many people that attend regularly. A lot of people don't attend regularly, and so when I grew up, church was a lot different. I grew up in a Catholic church, and it was a lot different. So we go into this large hall, and the singers come out, and I think it's great. I think it's great that we sing, and I think it brings people together, and I think it's a great message, and I think it's wonderful. What I have noticed, which to me seems almost, I'm sure people will tell me I'm crazy, but the songs at these churches, and this has been in the vast majority of churches I've gone on through my journey, the songs are so long. And I'm not saying, it's not like there's 6 different verses. It's the same verse for 5, 6, 7 minutes, and when that's over, we're on to the next song. So you go to mass, or you go to service for an hour and a half, and you spend 30 minutes of it standing and singing. And again, if that's for you, that's great. But singing a song lyric is no different than me turning on the radio. That doesn't get me any closer to my knowledge of the Bible, or to God, or to say that God's great, or that He has a reckless love. Beautiful songs, but that doesn't quite do it for me. That's okay, because it wasn't like a whole lecture just as a kid barrel at me. We got involved and engaged in the whole bit. But then came the service. And I got to be honest with you, I kept waiting for the service to take place. First lady stepped up and wanted to talk about the next month's community stuff, and that seems to be the MO for a lot of these churches, to let you know what to involve in and things like that. And then what I assume was the pastor came out and spoke, and I kid you not, the gist of, I guess, his message for the day was being all in and asking his congregation to be all in, not just on church, but on their specific church. And I think I counted 3 times he referred to a scripture in the Bible. Didn't say turn to this scripture and let's read it. And in Mark 3, whatever, it says, something about this. You can look it up later. And so he spent 20 minutes, 25 minutes talking about his, how much he loves his church, not just church, his church. And then the last 5 minutes were spent talking about finances, and about how, even though they've already passed around the collection plates, how they need to raise money for this giant city and coffee and donuts for everybody, is how I took it. Again, I'm sure the people, I'm talking religion, so if people were there yesterday, they would tell me how crazy I am. I'm just giving you my perspective as a newbie to the church. And he spent 5 minutes talking about how other churches have a $12 million budget to, their budget is $90 million, and $12 million of it is for giving to the community, and they have $1.2 million reserved for fundraising. Well, his church only has $2,000 for fundraising, and I understand that people want to give. I understand that according to him, the Bible said he read a script where, follow your treasure. Put your treasure where your heart will follow. I can't remember what scripture that was, but that was one of the 3 scriptures he referred to. That give up your treasure. And I understand tithing, and I understand that people do it regularly, and I've been with people in across the country, starting in Ohio, where the envelope goes in the basket every week, and I think that's great. I look, to each their own. I don't have any problem with giving my money. I'm going to start a foundation and donate as well. But I guess I was hoping to have, every moment I've gone along the way to church and the service, I haven't always agreed or absorbed everything the pastor was saying, but there was always 1 or 2 points that really stuck with me, that maybe reduced me to tears, that maybe said I couldn't wait to get home and share that with my kids. That got me fired up for the next time. That got me saying, hey, you know what, maybe there's something to this Bible. And frankly, yesterday, my first day back, nothing like that at all. Just nothing like it. So, to those of you out there that have been following me, all along, and happy for me to be going to church, please hear me. I'm not giving up on the idea. I'm not saying it was awful. I'm saying my experience yesterday was disappointing. I asked my kids what they did, because they were in 2 different kind of kid-friendly rooms, and my daughter liked it and had some fun, and they gave her popcorn, and she learned a little bit. And I asked my son, and he said, no, basically just told us, we played a little bit, and I guess they said something about, what was his one line? I forgot exactly what his one line was, but something about not sitting in his bed. Something along those lines, though. Something like, hey, to do this is not great. Maybe be lying or whatever. So, anyway, I know a lot of people were excited. I wanted to give you the update. It's Monday. It's another day. We're banging out the book. I'm already in my little office. I didn't shower yet this morning. It was early enough, so I had bedhead, so I put the power on. Anyway, guys, have yourselves a great day. And I'll talk to you soon. All right. So that was my little experience back home with my first experience at the church of a small city. So, if I want a coffee and donuts, I was in the right place. Anyway, love you all. Have yourselves a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.